Okay, good afternoon, members, and a warm welcome to our September full council meeting. To begin, I would ask John to read the summons and take attendance and apologies.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, members. To all members of Derry City and Strabane District Council, you're hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of the council to be held in the council chamber, Guildhall, Wednesday, the 25th September at 2 o'clock. Alderman Cook.
Here.
Alderman Guy. Alderman Hussey is advised he's running a little late. Alderman Carrigan. Okay. Alderman McMorris. Alderman Middleton.
Here, John.
Alderman Montgomery.
Here.
Alderman Wilkinson. Councillor Jason Barr. Councillor Lillian Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor Raymond Barr. Councillor Boggs.
Shaw John.
Councillor Boyle.
Here.
Councillor Clark. Councillor Cusick.
Here.
Councillor Deeney. Councillor Devine.
Shaw.
Councillor Donnelly.
And Shaw.
Councillor Alex Duffy.
Shaw.
Councillor Sandra Duffy. Councillor Farrell.
Here.
Councillor Fleming.
And Shaw.
Councillor Gallagher.
Shaw.
Councillor Harkin.
Here.
Councillor Hart. Councillor Heaney. Councillor Hutton. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Leonard.
Here.
Councillor Logue. Councillor McDade. Councillor McGinley. Councillor McHugh. Councillor Mooney. Councillor Murphy. Councillor Norris.
Here.
Councillor O'Farrell. Councillor Riley.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Here.
And Councillor Nealis. Thank you, members.
Okay, members, the next agenda item is broadcasting statement. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeating viewing. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. If you are seated in the lower public seating media areas, it is possible that the recording cameras will capture your image, and this will result in the possibility that your image will become part of the broadcast. By entering the council chamber and using the press or lower public seating area, you are consenting to being filmed and consenting to the use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. If you wish to avoid this, you should move to the upper public gallery. A copy of the council privacy notice may be found on the council website. Okay, members, the next agenda item is declaration of members' interest. You can declare now or throughout the meeting. And any members declaring now? Okay, we have on chairperson's business. Members, it's a very busy chairperson's business. I have received about 10 items, so I am going to ask you to please bear with me with timings because I'm going to limit it to 2 minutes to ensure that we finish quickly. I'm sure nobody wants to come back here tomorrow. So if we just work with me, we will do this very quickly. To start with, I will bring in Alderman Guy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to talk about last Friday. I was had the pleasure of representing yourself and this council to meet with Deeds and the Foyt side, and they were having an Alzheimer's Awareness Day. Obviously, that was on the Saturday, the 21st, World Alzheimer's Day. So last year they done it the day before, and they continued this year because it was such a success. And basically, it was to try and connect with shoppers or maybe people who were working in that area, and to assist with any concerns that they may have about maybe elderly family are suffering with dementia, maybe ones who haven't been assessed yet, or people who have been assessed but didn't know the services that Deeds and all our dementia services within the city and district provided. But it's just to raise awareness that on this Sunday, Sunday the 29th at around 10:30, sorry. Was it not? Oh, sorry. I thought something.
Are you okay? Okay. Could you just bear with us then for 1 minute and then we'll come back?
I thought it was.
If you want to just carry on, I'll try and get it through the microphone, just in ordinary hearing it, not on the lip, until Paul resolves it. Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
So basically it was just to raise awareness that this Sunday, Sunday the 29th of September, that there will be Deeds are holding a walk at 10:30 a.m. Leaving from Edmonton Square. Everybody we greatly supported, welcome any support from councillors or families that can be given. And just to thank you, Mayor, for letting me speak there on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Guy. And okay, Martin Riley.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Just to acknowledge Alderman Guy's comments, and I was at that event as well. Just to clear for the record, I'm a member staff for the Alzheimer's Society, but thank him for the comments today. And also, I know a number of other councillors were able to pop into an event in this building earlier today. Mayor, you spoke at it as well. So just to thank those councillors who came along to the event this morning. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and would just encourage everybody to please come to the walk. I'll be there to walk with the team. I think the event today was amazing, raising awareness and encouraging people to sign up to Leaving a Legacy for Alzheimer's Society to continue with the research. So thank you very much, Alderman Guy, for bringing that up. The next person who contacted me was Councillor Bog.
Margaret, Mayor, and I'll be very brief. It's just in relation to contact that I've had from 2 local sporting clubs, and I'm aware that maybe other reps as well have had contact from Strabane Athletic Football Club and Science Football Club, and their hope that we could maybe have them both in front of the Health and Communities Committee for a deputation. And this obviously relates to the floodlights that we are currently looking at as another phase on the Melbourne Sports Arena and Strabane, and members will be aware of conversations and motions that have been brought here before in relation to it. I've spoken to the Chair of Health and Communities, and she is content that they come before the committee, but just to take the earliest opportunity to try and make that a formal proposal here today and get them scheduled on as soon as possible. And obviously their main concerns, particularly for ladies sports and Strabane, is that they are being hindered, particularly in relation to progression to the Premier League. And they see the floodlights now as a time critical issue that they want to work with council to see resolved. So it's just to make a formal proposal that they are invited to the Health and Communities Committee at their earliest opportunity to speak to members. Thanks, Mayor.
Happy to second
Do you have
that.
a seconder for that?
Happy to second that.
Thank
As
you.
the one who brought the original proposal and made it the council's corporate position to bring this forward, it would be good to hear from the providers of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. I take it everyone is happy with that? Yeah, okay. Thank you. The next person who contacted me was Councillor Aisling Houghton.
Thank you, Mayor. And like Councillor Yai, it's just to highlight an event that's happening here in the city on the 15th of October. We had a deputation last year from the organisation Papyrus, who offer support to young people who are having thoughts of suicide and attempted suicide. They will have the Hope Walk on the 15th of October, leaving from Sainsbury's at 5 p.m. to the Guildhall. And the messaging is about smashing the stigma and getting the conversation going around suicide. And I think it's important that we get behind it and show the young people that we do have their back and that conversation can be had and the help that they need can be sought through their adults, their family members, community organisations, teachers. So I just wanted to make a request that council promote the walk through their social media so that as many people as possible are on the quay walking to support this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. That should be done. Yeah. Okay. The next person who contacted me is Councillor Emma McGinley.
Mayor, we're all going through the different dates of what's happening in October. The 10th of October is World Sight Day, which highlights the importance of looking after your eye health and raising awareness of sight loss and visual impairment. Back in February 23, Councillor Sandra Duffy brought a motion to the Council about making the city and district more visually aware. And since then, Council have been working with RNIB to provide training as well as making adjustments within buildings for people with visual impairment. Back in December, myself and Councillor Aisling Hutton brought a proposal after a meeting with Rory McCartney from RNIB and around making the Ryan McBride Brandywell Stadium more accessible for people with sight loss. And over the past number of months, we've been working with Rory, Michal Smith, who's the campaigns manager at RNIB, Richard Moore, Drive 105, Derry City Football Club and council officers to develop a proposal. And we were delighted to be in the Brandywell on Friday for the test run of the equipment that is now available for people with visual impairments during match days at the Brandywell. It was an amazing experience. It's my understanding that the only other stadium in the north that has this equipment is Windsor. So its council are again setting the precedent and implementing positive actions that allow for inclusion at council facilities. So I just wanted to thank Rory, Michal from RNIB, Richard Moore, Drive 105, Derry City Football Club, team at the Brandywell and council officers, in particular Steve Setterfield, who work with us to see this progress and has now been delivered. So if anybody needs access to it during match days, it'll be through Rory McCartney at this stage. So thank you.
Thank you, members. Okay, the next person who contacted me is Councillor McDade, and you have 2 items and 1 item is the same as Councillor Deary. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first one is the same as Councillor Denny's. It's just on the recent childcare subsidy scheme. As everyone will know, I've raised the difficulties by working families and here a number of occasions. This new scheme gives families an additional 15% off their childcare if the provider has signed up to it. So we welcome this as a great first step in making childcare more affordable for families across the north and acknowledge all the hard work done to get it over the line. However, having looked at the numbers, only 348 families in Foyle have signed up to it. So I've been speaking to families and childcare providers to understand why this is, and it seems that it's quite laborious and not all providers have managed to sign up to it. So I know this has been raised in executive already, so I'm just hoping that that will be solved before the scheme runs out in March 2025. But as I say, the scheme lays the groundwork for an ambitious, funded and target-focused childcare strategy that will not only make childcare more affordable for families, allowing parents to remain in work and contribute to the economy, but will also support the childcare providers that continue to struggle with rising costs of fuel, food and insurances, making it more and more difficult to maintain their service. But like I said, I welcome the introduction of the subsidy scheme and I recognise that it is a great first step towards a full childcare strategy. Thanks.
Councillor McDade, do you want to come in? Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor McDade. Very similar to what Councillor McDade has said there. Just that this week we've seen thousands of families that will see that reduced childcare costs under the new scheme. There have been several motions brought through the council by myself, Councillor McDade, Alderman Hussey, and it's something that we all feel very strongly about. And it is a great first step by the executive in the ongoing work to cut that cost, and obviously very welcome towards our goal of affordable and accessible childcare. So thank you, Councillor McDade, as well for bringing that up.
Thank you. Okay, your second item?
Thank you again, Mayor. I just wanted to take a minute just to acknowledge and send condolences to the families of the 3 young people that have lost their lives on our roads this past month. I think everyone will agree. It seems that there's just been tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And Cian Dawson, age 16, Owen Dawson, his cousin, age 20, and Noah Karen, all age 18, all passed away on the roads in Derry and the surrounding areas in the past month. So that's 6 grieving parents, 5 grieving siblings, and 3 sets of families and friends that are heartbroken and trying to navigate through their grief. I just wanted to acknowledge the brilliant work that the charity Life After do to support families like them, and not just the families, but the friends and the school friends and colleagues. And I'd just like to ask the Mayor to send a card to each of the families, just sending our love and support and condolences at this horrific time. Thank you.
Councillor McDade, and I attended 2 funerals, and I just know how devastating that is, so I echo your words there. The next councillor who contacted me is Councillor Sean Harkin, and you have 2 items.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the first one is, and we chatted about this last night, and obviously the closure of the Al Jazeera office in Ramallah is frightening, and it demonstrates part of Israel's escalation of violence in the West Bank. And the Derry and Northwest branch of the National Union of Journalists are holding a vigil today at 5 o'clock in Guildhall Square, in the Guildhall Steps. And I wanted to propose that we suspend the meeting for any members that want to join that today at 5. So that's the first thing, Mayor. I think it's an important act of solidarity by journalists here to stand in solidarity with journalists in Gaza and in the West Bank, given the number of journalists that have been killed. And this is very clearly an attempt by Israel to suppress the truth and deny the ability of journalists in the West Bank to tell the story of what's happening there.
Thank you, Councillor. I would be happy to support that motion, and we normally take a break at 4 o'clock. And I want to propose that we take the break at 5 o'clock instead. If members are happy with that. Okay. Alderman McMorris.
I just find it appalling that we're like pausing. If we want to pause at a break, we pause at the normal break where we all want to break. But I have care and responsibilities outside of this chamber. Do you know what I mean? And we shouldn't be just stopping proceedings willy-nilly. I'm not saying it's willy-nilly or the cause is not worthwhile, but certainly if people want to leave the chamber, then they can leave the chamber. They're free to do that. But I think proceedings should proceed on. Thank you.
Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor. And I suppose everyone's entitled to their own view on it. Just to confirm that the SDLP don't mind while out of the break is switched to 5 o'clock. We support the switching of it to 5 o'clock. But what I would say is whether it's at 4 or whether it's at 5, the meeting's still going to run the same length of time. And anyone with responsibilities thereafter shouldn't be affected. But the SDLP are happy to see the switch to 5 o'clock to attend the protest. Thank you.
Okay, members, there are somebody else wants to speak? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. We support today's demonstration by the NUJ and are happy to join the demonstration at 5 o'clock.
Councillor Mac.
I would just like it on record that I have a newborn at home, and I would really appreciate it if we do take a break at 5, which it looks like it's going that way, that we're out on time. I can't believe it.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly.
Chair. No, happy to support the proposal. Chair, we've taken breaks on here before during meetings, and I think people are entitled to do that, even if you disagree with the reason for doing it. No, it hasn't been opposed before, whereas Armistice or whereas Bloody Sunday, we have done it when it's, and so just happy to wouldn't say happy, but the fact that we have to do this where journalists are being slaughtered, I think we have a duty to show solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Gallagher.
Likewise, Mayor, I support the proposal, and I think that I appreciate people have care and responsibilities for children, but when we look at our news feeds night on night, there's thousands of children getting blown apart. That's the reality that we're facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, there are differing opinions here, so I am gonna ask for a vote. Okay, we will do this in a show of hands because it's easier. So show of hands for those who are voting against the proposal to switch the break to 5 o'clock. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Have 3. Okay. 4. Okay. Show of hands those who are happy to take a break at 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock.
It's 33.
Thank you, members. The break will be for 15 minutes and we will be back at. Oh, you're abstaining. Sorry, members. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so the proposal passes and we will take a break at 5 o'clock for 15 minutes. Thank you, members. The next, your second item.
Thank you, Mayor. And thanks everybody for supporting that. And I'm sure it'll be appreciated by the National Union of Journalists here in the city and in the Northwest. Look, I think that we are approaching a year now of Israel's genocidal war in Gaza. And that war has been very clearly now extended. Israeli aggression has been extended into the West Bank. There's been hundreds of people killed in the West Bank, and there's been a clear escalation of violence there, but not just there. Now Israel has launched what looks like a full-scale attack on Lebanon. Hundreds of civilians have been killed. The same tactics that Israel has used in Gaza, they are now applying to Lebanon. And this is very worrying. And what it shows is that Israel has no interest in a ceasefire. It's got no interest in returning the hostages. And Israel very clearly wants to switch the focus of the international media and community away from what's happening in Gaza onto the next stage in this conflict. So I think we have to send a very clear message that we condemn this as a council, and that we, and we want to see actions taken that will bring pressure on Israel to end the genocide in Gaza. As we know, symbolism is not working. I think it's very clear that the Irish government has at least one tool that it can implement, and that's the Occupied Territories Bill that has broad support, and there's no real reason for that not to be implemented right now by the Fianna Fáil government. So I think we should be calling on Simon Harris, who was recently here, to end the blockage on getting that implemented. There's also two other issues connected to this, which I think are very important for us to raise. Previously, we had BDS activists here in Derry arrested, handled very aggressively at Home Bargains. That included Councillor Donnelly. But the same has happened now in Strabane, again at Home Bargains, where a number of people, small number of people, were engaged in peaceful civil disobedience in terms of doing a BDS action in Strabane, and they were arrested by the police. They had their cell phones taken off them, and there's now charges being brought against them. Now, this is significant because the police are saying that they have no resources, they have no ability to kind of like address issues, and they're going out and arresting BDS activists. So I think we have to make a clear statement from the council calling for these charges to be dropped. And the last thing, Mayor, that's included in the short motion that I sent to Teresa is that I think we as a council should support the October 7th IPSC march and rally that's been organised here in the city, marking a year of genocide and also a year of global resistance to that genocide that's happened across Ireland and across the world. So there's a few requests in there, but I think they're pretty straightforward. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, members, I'll allow a minute to look at the motion. Right, members, Councillor Harkin, I'm going to allow this, but can I please request that in future, I really do not want to encourage pop-up motions because we do have a process here where members are given opportunities to submit motions 10 days before full council. And that allows members enough time to interrogate the motion and look at it and deliberate within their own teams and then come up here. So please, this is the last pop-up motion I will allow.
Very quickly, Mayor, just in response, I appreciate that. But there was several of the issues that are contained in this that I couldn't have brought forward, 2 weeks ago, or 10 days ago. Thank you.
I'm only allowing this because we've seen this today and because of what is in the motion, but I will allow members to discuss it and then we take a vote. I would imagine there will be some differing views again, but let me just be clear, this is the last pop-up motion I will allow in this chamber in my term as mayor. And we need a seconder for this.
I'd just like to be associated with Councillor Harkin's remarks as well, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, any members who would like to contribute? Members happy to take? Okay, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. We're very happy to support Councillor Harkin's proposal. The Council's position on the Occupied Territories Bill is already confirmed. Of course, we condemn the arrest of peaceful protesters in Strabane, and we will be, as a party, supporting the march on the 7th of October. So we're happy to support the proposal from Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Alderman McMahon.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in. And just I want to reiterate about the pop-up motions. I just think that they're a disgrace that they're coming in pop-up. It's just, I can't believe it. But anyway, it's not surprising. But anyway, I just wanted to say in regards to the BDS Strabane, we already discussed this about the incident where Gary Donnelly was involved. I think that that's a police matter, for them to investigate. And if there was any criminal activity or anything that they see, it's their matter. I don't think that we should be condemning if there is found to be like criminal damage or criminal proceedings. I just want to put that across as my feelings on it.
Thank you, Alderman McMorris. Councillor McDade.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks to Councillor Harkin for bringing the motion. I think we shouldn't be criminalising peaceful protests. We need to be very careful with our language, but that's besides the point. I think that what Councillor Harkin has said when he brought the motion is that things have been stepped up massively. Israel have really stepped this up and it's getting more and more wider ranged, and it's just become more and more dangerous. So I think we need to be doing everything we can. Like I say, every time, anything that we can do as a council, we need to be doing. So as Councillor Murphy said, we already have a stand from a council perspective, so we just stick with it. And we write the letters, we call them out, and the protest on the 7th of October hopefully will be well attended. I would like to see everyone here supporting the IPSC march and showing our solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDade. Okay, I do not see anybody else who is indicating to speak. Alderman, you have already spoken. And
I just want to confirm that I didn't say that anybody was a criminal. I says that let the police investigate, and if there's any criminal activity, it's up to them to investigate. So I just want to reiterate, I did not say that anybody had made any criminal acts or anything.
thank you. Okay, I'll take this to the vote again with a show of hands. Who is voting against the motion on the floor? Okay. Show of hands, who is abstaining? And with a show of hands, who is voting for the motion? Thank you, members. Okay, the next person The next person who contacted me is Councillor Logue.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure every councillor here and council officers will welcome the notice the announcement that the money has been found for the resurfacing of the cemetery. I don't drive myself, but I do know that a lot of drivers have been complaining about it, and I hope this work can begin sooner rather than later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Logue. I think everybody is very happy to hear that the money has been found, and thank you for commenting that. Okay, I do not see any member who would like to contribute to that. Thank you, member. So the next agenda item is confirmation of the open minutes of the meeting of the Derry City.
Mayor, I did email you for chairperson's business. You did reply as well.
Oh,
Okay.
apologies.
I think Alderman Wilkinson also asked for chairperson's business, but I'd speak. Alderman Wilkinson. Mayor, if it wasn't received, I'm happy enough, whatever. I got it sent through to me. Sorry, can you put it through your microphone?
Oh, that wasn't forwarded to me. Could I ask members, because my office receives a lot of emails and it's really easy to miss out. If you send for any chairperson's business, please copy me on my council email because I'll be able to see, and maybe the team will not be missing any. So please do that. Okay, I'll bring you in, Alderman Middleton first.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I wanted to use this time to speak of the phenomenal achievements of a number of amazing young people who have used their determination and their raw talent to really shine a light on Brady, the Faughan, and actually our full council district area. We, as a collective group of public representatives, should always look to our children and our young people and be not only inspired by them, but also motivated to do the best and be the best for them. A huge congratulations to Becky Taggart of the brilliant Solace Highland Dancers, who in 2 consecutive weeks went and won the All-Ireland Champion Highland Dancer and the Ulster Champion Highland Dancer. Another huge congratulations goes to Bobby Moore. Bobby's a young man whose family I know very well. He's from the Brady area and he works so hard. Bobby is part of the amazing Brady Ulster Scots Pipe Band, and he was crowned the first ever UK Juvenile Solo Drumming Champion. And last but not least, I'd like to mention a massive congratulations to the wonderful Brady Cricket Club boys under-15s team who won the Youth All-Ireland Championships. Well done to all the young people, the coaches, the volunteers, the parents, and the whole community. And thank you, Mayor, for arranging the civic receptions for each of the above. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman McMorris. And there are 2 items on the agenda, right?
Yeah, I'm just
Are you speaking to both of
read
them
it.
or one? Are you speaking to?
He just sent me through, so I'll just read it out as it is.
Okay.
That's okay. So, thank you, Mayor. This is Alderman Wilkinson. I wish to congratulate the fantastic achievements at the Paralympics Games from the local super tandem twins, Judith and Chloe McComb. They both had great achievements at the Games and have made our district proud. I would also like to congratulate Donamana Cricket Club on the season for their hard work, which resulted in multiple trophies lifted, with the senior team taking home the Northwest League and making the final of the Senior Cup. With the third team becoming cup winners, the youth team is growing stronger and went on to win the Northwest League. Can I please ask Mayor that we congratulate them? Thank you.
No problem at all. I will send them a letter. Okay. Is there anybody else I have missed out on chairperson business? No. Thank you very much, members. So Next item is agenda item 6, confirmation of the open minutes of the meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Wednesday, 24th July, 2024, pages 5 to 30 for accuracy. Alderman McMorris. Seconder, please. No one wants to get second.
Sorry, it's not for accuracy.
Councillor Boyle. Any matters arising? Okay, Councillor McMorris.
It's just for accuracy, and it's on C387/24. And I could be wrong, but I'm almost 1,000,000% certain that I seconded the motion. And it does say Councillor Riley seconded the motion. I believe I actually spoke straight after Councillor McDade and finished up. I actually write down everything I say, so I finished to say that I seconded the motion. So just wondered, could that be checked, please? Thank you.
Alderman McMorris.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just, Karen, at the last meeting, I'd asked for a report to come back in regards to the waterside play parks and what basically we were doing in order to turn them back into community spaces. And I know there was mention of the play parks within ENR, but I was just wondering if maybe if a report can come back here, especially about the two new derelict parks in regards to how we can turn them back into community spaces, because I'm conscious there's a feeling out there that they're not going to be made back into parks, but we just need to progress that on so that the community has access to whatever's there, and B, do you know what I mean? They need to know what's going to be there in the future, and we need to be making provisions, so some kind of master plan of how we can achieve it and what the wishes is of them communities in regards to it. And I'd also just like a wee bit of clarity on the Ross Downey Park as well. I was discussing to see that on there that there was 14 facilities within the water side, and 7 of them are red, and basically practically all of them are derelict. You know, that's like 50% of the play provision on the water side is lying derelict. And I just would like a meeting or some kind of thing where we can sit down and discuss the waterside play provision, because it's not acceptable, you know, and we're still waiting on costings for the Ross Downey Park, which hasn't been progressed yet as well, and that's been the consultation on that was February. So I think we need to progress them on and basically have some plans of what we're going to do for them community spaces.
Members, through, I'm happy to bring a further report back. We've been doing an awful lot of work with all members across all the DEAs in terms of play facilities and scoping what we're able to do with the limited resources that we have. All of the parks that we've been scoping are currently being in the process of being costed, and happy to have further engagement with members across all of the DEAs and the waterside in terms of all of the facilities. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm just listening to Alderman McMorris there and Karen's response, which I think was very helpful. In relation to the report and the update on facilities within the waterside, and I noticed that most of it touched around play parks. Will the report include an update on the Irish Street Mugga and where we are with that and getting that back brought on, like Alderman McMorris has suggested, getting that brought on back into public, used by the public and not used to store bonfire materials over the summer months?
Chair, happy to include that facility.
Thank you.
Karen, I can give you an update on that if you want before you bring it back.
Okay, moving on to item 8, confirmation of the open minutes of the special meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Thursday, 15th August 2024, pages 31 to 44 for accuracy. Members, for accuracy. Councillor Murphy, thank you. Seconder. Councillor McDade. Any matters arising? Okay, moving on to item 9, confirmation of the open minutes of the special meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Wednesday, 18th September 2024, pages 45 to 52 for accuracy. Alderman McMorris and seconder. Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Matters arising? Councillor McMorris.
Yeah, just under points, SC 887/24. I basically sent an apology for that meeting, sorry, excuse me, and I sent it back to the organiser through the diary entries, and I was just wondering, it wasn't recorded as an apology, and I know Alderman Middleton done the same. Can I confirm, is that recorded if we send it through there?
Yeah.
Do you know where the diary entry comes through? It allows you to send a message back to the organiser.
Yeah,
So
so
we
we'll
put a
adjust,
message.
the records will be adjusted. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Can I just confirm, should we not use that method of come back to if it's not been picked up? Or just so future, we can just either send an email or something, is it being picked up?
Sure, sorry, through you, any method is appropriate, but potentially if you wish to include the mayor and myself in any email, then it's a triple lock, but we'll ensure that it happens.
Okay, Councillor Jackson.
Mayor, just on the previous item, I'm conscious that the proposer of the minutes just declared that she wasn't there. So I'm happy to propose that the accuracy of the minutes.
Thank you.
I put up my hand, put on my thing to just come in on it. I didn't actually want to propose it.
This is messy today.
I was there and I'm still happy to second the minutes.
Thank you. Okay, any other matters arising? No. Oh, Councillor Boggs.
Even though I'm scared to open my mouth on here today about anything, but SC 90/24, and it is related to this, but a slight aside, just if you'll indulge me, it's just in relation to the announcement that came after the City deal signing in relation to the releasing of funds for the Strabane Public Realm Scheme, which is an additional 7.2 million, which is welcome and much anticipated, I can say, by elected reps and locals and businesses in particular. But just either from the Chief Executive or from any of the council officers, is there an update yet from the Department for Communities when some of that work will start to be seen and when we can actually see the 7.2 million in front of us rather than talking about it? Thank you.
Through you, Chair. Members, as you know, Council are actually leading on that project. Obviously, the Department for Communities is the major funder of 90%, and Council are co-funding with 10% of the project. We haven't yet received a letter of offer in relation to that. We anticipate that coming through immediately, but in the meanwhile, we have been getting ready to actually start to deliver the project on the ground, and we should have a clearer timeline on that in terms of appointment of a contractor, etc., over the next month or so. So I will bring an update report and the Environment and Regeneration Day to provide members with a more definitive timeline, but we anticipate that we will be undertaking or starting to undertake the work. It will commence in and around spring of next year, by the time we go through the process to appoint the contractor, etc. So and then it'll be approximately 9 months on the ground after that. So there's an awful lot of work to do in engagement with businesses and residents, etc. And we're planning for all of that at the minute, but we've got all the resources in place and internally to deal with that. So we'll take it forward as quickly as we can. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Bog, happy with that? Okay. Moving on to item 10, adoption of the open minutes of the following committees. Monthly Governance and Strategic Planning Committee held on Tuesday, 3rd September, pages 53 to 70 for accuracy. Councillor Tierney. Councillor Mooney, thank you. Any matters arising? Alderman Kerrigan.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me in. And I could be wrong here in this one, as known to happen. But in regards to the governance strategic planning, that was in regards to the online meetings again. was raised in that. I had seen it. I just can't find the section here when I was looking for it there. And I was just querying, is this likely to start effectively after this meeting if it was passed today? So in theory, if this meeting dragged on till tomorrow, there could be an online version of it. No. Are we hoping to get this meeting wrapped up today? I'm just wondering that one. So as long as
Do you want to come in?
it will be operational effectively from the start of October. Is that where we're leaving?
DNSP at the start of October, yeah.
Okay, Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is in regard to GSP 156/24. And we at that meeting we agreed to pass a strong motion calling for the winter fuel payment to be reinstated. As members can see, we are both writing to the relevant minister in Westminster and at Stormont. And I just want to say, I think obviously the decision by the Labour government that was then followed by the Stormont executive to cut the winter fuel payment has been greeted with a lot of dismay and disappointment and fear. There's a lot of older people right now who I'm sure many of us have spoken to who are shocked at this decision and who are worried about the winter months and what lies ahead. And given the fact that we have disproportionate levels of fuel poverty, it's very, very worrying. So it was good to see today that even though there was an attempt by the leadership of the Labour Party to avoid a vote on the winter fuel payment, that the trade union led a motion for calling for the winter fuel payment to be reinstated and calling for wealth taxes succeeded and passed. And I think that motion, even though it's non-binding, will send a very, very clear message to the British government that people do not agree with this decision and want action on it. And I think that there's very clearly, this is not going to be the end of it, that there's a clear commitment from the trade union movement across the water and here, the campaign and this issue to overturn it. So what I would like to propose, Mayor, is that we commend this decision, this work done by the trade union movement, and that we unite the trade union movement, the Freeze the Cuts campaign and AGNI in for a discussion, deputation, to talk about the winter fuel payment, to talk about the likely impact that it'll have, to talk about their fears in terms of what is ahead, and to talk about the campaign that has already taken off to see this cruel cut reversed. So I want to add that to the recommendation that's in this item, Mayor.
A seconder for that? Okay. Councillor Barr. Members, anybody with an issue with that? Happy to proceed? Thank you. Alderman Carr.
Mayor, I'm only just asking the question, as I say, it's just we have a schedule of individuals and groups that are coming in for a presentation. Sorry, and I'm just wondering, is that schedule already set in place? Is this to come in before committee, or is this likely that we would need to call a special council meeting for this, just to confirm what the feeling is of how this would be organised? That's just I'm querying that one because I'm minded that it is time sensitive in regards to the winter fuel payments will come out, and we don't have a lot of time between now and then. So I'm only asking the question. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I've just been informed that that will be looked into and the team will decide the course of action. Okay. Councillor Hagan?
Thank you, Alderman Kerrigan, for raising that. And look, I would be happy for this to be a special council meeting if necessary. I think it's that important. So if council officers can look at the forthcoming schedule, that would be great. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, members, to item 10B, monthly planning committee held on Wednesday, 4th September 2024, pages 71 to 80 for accuracy. Thank you. Thank you. Any matters arising? Thank you, members. Okay, moving on. 10C, monthly business and culture committee held on Tuesday, 10 September 2024, pages 81 to 94 for accuracy. Thank you. Second. Thank you very much. Any matters arising? Thank you, members. Moving on to D, monthly environment and regeneration committee held on Wednesday, 11 September 2024, pages 95 to 113 for accuracy. Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, Councillor. Any matters arising? Okay, Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Mayor. It is ER 220/24. That's the Craigan Reservoirs. And look, there's been a long process that the council's been involved in to become the manager of the Craigan Country Park. And my original support for that was based on the idea that we would create a master plan to invest in the Craigan Country Park in order to regenerate it and take advantage of everything that exists there. In the same way that, you know, Brook Park has been regenerated, in the same way that St. Colum's Park. I think we owe that to the people of the area, and it did not do that, would miss out on so much potential. And then there's also the issue that became a more pressing issue, which was to do with trying to address the issues of the floodplain so that projects could move forward. As everybody will know, because it's very well publicised, the water level in the lower reservoir has dropped significantly, so significantly that the Glenrowan fisheries had to close. And there's a lot of anger about this. There's a lot of anger from the angling community that used the facility, and that was many people. And there's a lot of questions about what's happening, why is this necessary? It's my understanding as well that the Craigan Country Park is suffering a loss of income and revenue as a result of this. It's not necessarily clear if they've seen that coming. I certainly didn't see this coming. So there's a lot of questions that need to be addressed, because there's genuine community support, concern about this. I don't think it would be acceptable for the water level to remain as it is for the future. If we become the manager of the reservoir area, I think we have to address the issue of lost revenue for the organisation that we are presently partnering with, Craigan Country Park. So I think that there needs to be some clarification given as to what is going to happen going forward, what will happen to the water body. There's a lot of uses for that water body, not just angling, but part of a plan to regenerate the Craigan Country Park. The entire area would involve use of the water. So I think that if officers can shed some light on this right now, I think that would be useful for the many residents and reservoir users across the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McHugh, is that the same issue you were about? Okay, I'll bring John in for that.
Thank you, Mayor. And maybe I'll just give some high-level responses to that, and then maybe ask Karen to come in. So, members, it's a really challenging issue, as you're aware. The primary objective was to ensure that the immediate health and safety issues had been addressed, and they are mostly addressed at this stage. And we've been working very closely with Craigan Country Park and its board and staff to ensure that those immediate health and safety issues were addressed. The matter has been set out in quite some detail in reports to date. The next piece of work, if you like, is that a whole series of tests need to take place and investigations on site. And we're working with the team and to bring in specialist consultants to undertake those tests, which will then help inform the options going forward. We also intend to meet with Craig and Country Park representatives in the next number of weeks to discuss the progress that's been made to date, the concerns that exist, and the aspiration, not just of this council, but of Craig and Country Park, for a further master plan to be worked up and the direction of travel in the future. So that's certainly the issues that the officer team are working through, and we will bring a further update report to committee in due course. I may have left something out. I'm not sure, Karen, if you want to.
Through you, Chair, members, just I suppose mainly covered by John there, but just to remind members that as part of the levelling up funding application, we did do quite a lot of work in terms of scoping the potential for a master plan on the site. So we will be able to use that moving forward in terms of our engagement with Craig and Country Park and indeed with members in terms of the future of the wider asset. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Jackson, you want to talk on that issue?
I was somewhat confused by Councillor Harkin's comments, because there was quite a lot of updates that we received as elected representative or elected members through committee reports, through special meetings of council. I know I'm a representative of the Waterside, and I'm contacted by members of the Craig and the Country Park board. No, I'm having conversations with them. The fact that there's an elected representative from that area that was oblivious to what was going on is shocking, and if that's the level of representation, I'm astounded. And maybe paying more attention to major issues that are happening within our council area rather than looking for opportunities to bring your wife and friends into this council chamber might be more appropriate. So I'm just astounded of what we've heard on what is a really serious issue, where there was extensive consultation with members of the public, our members, our interested parties. So on that, I don't. Well, I think I've said what I've said. I'm just astounded that this particular elected representative knew so little about what was happening in Craig and Country Park. Thanks, Mayor.
Councillor Harkin, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I'm going to ignore the personal insults because they don't bother me, and I think it's like sad that you would stoop down to that level when you're trying to make a political point. I've talked to people, lots of people who are on the board and who didn't know that the water level was going to drop to this level, who didn't know that the Glenwood fisheries was going to be shut down during the summer, who didn't know that all that was going to come to a halt, that didn't know that revenue was going to be lost to Craig and Country Park. So unless you knew all this in advance, you know more than the people who are in Craig and Country Park. And I think it's absolutely right that I would be coming in here on behalf of people who've raised this with me today, asking these questions. And they are good questions they ask.
Thank you,
and I
Councillor
think that,
Harkin.
thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor McHugh, we're moving on. Did you indicate to speak on this issue? Right, okay.
Thank you. It's just, and some of the things that Councillor Harkin has mentioned around people on the board and staff who didn't know. I find it hard to believe that council went up without telling anybody or sent someone up to reduce the water levels. When you think of all the work that had to be done pre that, to prepare for that with the removal of the fish and etc. But can we get a confirmation from the officers that Craig and Country Park were engaged and knew the implications of what was going to happen before it happened? I believe they did, but I just want that confirmed. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, members, just to confirm that Craig and Country Park actually wrote and requested that Council assist them in dealing with the matters in the interest of safety as laid out in the Section 10 report, and Council responded accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Okay, Councillor McHugh.
My good, Vera. My issue relates to ER 223/24, and it's the dairy play provision, but it relates specifically to the transfer of land at that site from housing executive to council. The officer had confirmed at the E&R meeting that that land transfer was at an advanced stage. So given that fact, there's probably a bit of a grey area in terms of who's actually responsible for the maintenance of that ground. But given Churchtown Community Association are working with council to site their Halloween play trail display there, I'm just wondering if council would consider tidying up that bit of ground and cutting the grass there to facilitate that display. Thank you, Mayor.
Through you, Chair, members will engage with the housing executive and agree something on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Hussain.
Thank you. Also on the same item, different part of the report, the issue of the playboard update report. I know we're only approving the minutes now, but the director did say that she would look into the matter. Has there been any contact with Playboard in regard to an updated Playboard report for all of the other play facilities throughout the district council area yet?
Yep, through you, Chair. Members, as I said earlier in the meeting, we had very significant engagement in relation to play, and one of the issues was in relation to the play board and play plan, and I will bring a further report to members in terms of that as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Alderman Middleton.
Thank you, Mayor. It's just a matter of accuracy. So ER 228/24, and I just want to start by saying I have absolutely no interest in personal gain. I'm not looking my name put against things, but flooding is one of the things that I deal with every single day. I literally have people crying, speaking to me about it, and I just was a wee bit disappointed that the comments I made, not for me, but on behalf of my constituents, weren't noted when everyone else's were. Thank you.
Happy we can update the report on anything.
Okay, Alderman Middleton, you'll get an update on that. All right. Okay. On the same issue?
No,
Alderman
it's not the
Hussain?
same issue, it's a different issue.
Sorry, was that on the same issue or another issue? Okay, I'll bring you after Councillor Jackson. You wanted to speak? Okay. Alderman Hussain, then back to you.
Thank you. 217 on ER, page 97 on adopted roads. We're to seek a meeting with DFI to discuss the issue of unadopted roads. In the past, we have received a list from DFI. Will we be receiving that list from DFI of the unadopted, the situation reference unadopted roads prior to that meeting? Thank you.
Through you, Chair, members happy to organise that. And as you are aware, the DFI Divisional Roads Manager and his team are due to attend the next meeting of the Environment and Regeneration Committee to do their normal autumn update report. So there'll be an opportunity to speak to them at that as well in terms of the issue. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, just if I can come back on that, is that in addition to a separate meeting specifically on unadopted roads?
Through you, Chair, members, yes, of course, yeah.
Okay, Councillor Lyon.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor, and thanks to Alderman Hussey for raising the item. Just in relation to this, we're conscious that some of the unadopted roads are not being progressed, not because of road service, but because of NI water, which is under the Department for Infrastructure. So when we're making representations to DFI, can we ask that the response includes NI water related unadopted work that needs to be completed as well, so we get a full picture of the problems that DFA and the council area are experiencing? Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. That will be done. Okay, moving on now to item 10E, special meeting of the Health and Community Committee held on Thursday, 12 September 2024, pages 113 to 112. To 122 for accuracy. Thank you. Any matters arising? Thank you, members. Moving on to F, monthly health and community committee held on Thursday, 12 September 2024, pages 123 to 138 for accuracy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Matters arising? Councillor Daly?
Thank you, Mayor. It's under HC 218/24, and it was an update on good relations funding and the good relations action plan. There was a concern around some of the postcodes missing from the action plan, and following this, there's been an email circulated to the committee members, and I was just happy to propose that we accept the report after the information we got after.
I'm happy to second that as well, Mayor.
You, Councillor Donnelly first, and then we'll come to you, Alderman.
Chair, it's not on the same item, if that's okay. It's not, no.
Are you on the same item? I'll bring you first then.
Thank you, Mayor. It was myself who had actually raised that 207. I'm not a member of that committee, but I had raised the issue, and I have received that copy as well. I must say that I have issues with what I've received. If it's the wish of council that the report be adopted, fair enough. But I would hope to get the opportunity at the next Health and Community meeting to bring up the continuing issues. As I say, I'm not a member of that committee, but it was myself who raised those concerns. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Okay, Councillor Donnelly.
Chair. Chair, it's HC 222/24, Derry Strabane PCSP Annual Report 23 and 24. Chair, on page 20 of that report, the second last paragraph, it says that PCSP members had the opportunity to attend 6 meetings with PSNI to scrutinise their use of the Justice and Security Act stop and search powers. At these accountability meetings, PCSP members who attended had the opportunity to randomly select a number of body-worn videos to watch and see how searches were carried out. Members then had the opportunity to ask questions and discuss searches with PSNI. The purpose of these meetings is to ensure transparency and accountability. Chair, I'm just wondering if somebody who was at these meetings and who viewed these could maybe shine some light on that, because as it reads, it causes me concerns that stop and searches are already humiliating enough acts, and they're used not only on people who would the state would see as dissenting, but also their families, their children. And I would want to know what is in these videos, and is the people who are in these videos, have they given their permission for it? Because if they haven't, then data protection and all that comes into it. So if somebody who was at these viewings, because I'm sure members of the public, it's not always people who are involved in that the state would see as subversive or political activities. Sometimes they're the partners or mothers or fathers and children. Can somebody who was at them viewing shine any light on what's going on here? Thank you.
Is there any members who want to respond to that or to speak to the issue? Alderman McMorris.
Just to confirm that I went to one of them events, and basically we were ticking in, and there was a list of like numbers or whatever, and we randomly selected a number and they went in. Now, we weren't given any details about who anybody was or whatever, do you know what I mean? But it was just like a video of the webcams that they were using in regards to stopping searches or whatever. So it was just like basically viewing the footage of what the body cams picked up, and just to make sure, it was more about the scrutiny of the police to make sure that they had followed things and were doing things properly or whatever. It was more about that. It wasn't about learning who the people were or what they were doing. It was just featured on the actual police stopping and the activity that happened at that moment in time. But we weren't given any information about who was involved. And in fact, like, I didn't know who anybody was, but I don't know whether somebody else might have, but that's basically what happened. But I did attend one.
Alderman Guy.
Thank you, Mary. Just following up on what Alderman Morris has said, that I was the first one to attend one of those meetings, same selection. Basically didn't know the person, and it was more in my eyes to see how the police were dealing with it, to see if they were, the work that they were carrying out was all above board. As I say, the stop and searches, as far as I know, have greatly reduced in the city and district. And long may that continue. It shows that there's maybe not as much need for them now as there was in the past. But that's all I would want to say on it, because of GDPR and all that there. But anybody involved in those videos, I did not know them. And just to declare an interest in that there with PCSP membership.
Thank you, Alderman Guy. Councillor Donnelly.
I'd like to thank the two previous speakers for their contribution. Again, Chair, I have, and I'm not sure there may be ramifications for this council for data protection, because I know that if I was involved in a stop and search, I believe it would be a violation of my rights for people to record it without your permission and then to show it to other people. As I say, that these are very, very damaging acts and have an effect, particularly on young children and that. And, I think that this is a very bad practice, and one that there could be legal ramifications for this council for what's happened. Thank you.
Councillor Gallagher, is it on the same issue?
Thank you, Mayor, and Councillor Donnelly. This council plays a lead role. I think there's kind of mind, but there's 12 or 14 members. This council sit on that board, and they've gone very quiet all of a sudden. And there's also some so-called independent members of the public that are on this, and what Councillor Donnelly has highlighted, and it's probably the same around the CCTV that we have. And I think that came up in front of this council before, and there was issues around data protection. And I'm wondering, this appears to be equivalent around data protection, that this council, if it's done in this council's name, then we need to look into, is there breaches data protection? Is there issues around this council should condemn the act that the public are getting to see humiliating acts? And these cameras pick up searches where they're going through people's personal property, kids getting taken out of cars, they're going to school. There's a lot of stuff in, and it's shocking, the silence in this chamber. Shocking. And the Alderman there pointed out that there's a big reduction, but in fact there's an increase in certain and numerous individuals that get picked on daily, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times daily. Picking their kids to school, bringing them back, the same person, the same cops that are doing it. So there may not be, for example, leaving so-called nice Republicans alone, which may be why there's such silence in this chamber today. But this council needs to look at the legal ramifications that's getting done in its name. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gallagher. I think members are responding to the question with answers. I'll bring you back in, Alderman McMorris, and then Councillor Tierney.
Just a declaration of interest as a PCSP member. And just to clarify, anybody, I think everybody's face was blurred out. If there was children or anything, there wasn't any vision of that. Not that I've seen anyway. Thank you.
Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not on the PCSP, and I haven't attended any of these meetings. I was on the PCSP a number of years ago, and this type of meeting wasn't something that happened then. Not to the best of my knowledge, it happened anyway. And I'm wondering, I do hear what Councillor Gallagher and Councillor Donnelly are saying. I'm also listening to some of the responses. All of my guys saying that there's a reduction in stop and searches. I see a lot of these on my social media channels, I don't know if there's a reduction, and if there's a reduction, not everyone who was previously being stopped and searched is seeing that reduction. There may be a reduction across the district, but I think it's more targeted against particular individuals. Madam Mayor, I wonder, could the officer team tell us if this is a practice across the north with PCSPs where these similar types of meetings take place, and when our council, our local PCSP, began hosting these types of meetings? Because, as I say, I was on the PCSP for a number of years. It wasn't something that happened then. And have, you know, I do share their concerns around GDPR and the sharing of those videos. And I just want to make sure that we, as a council, know what we're doing and making sure that we have all the checks and balances in place where there is no breach on our part. And if we have checked with the PSNI, if this is an appropriate approach to take, I'm just not sure at this stage that it is. And I do share some of the concerns that have been voiced by members. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. The team will bring a report. John has just informed me that they will bring a report on that issue just to make confirmation. Is that okay?
Well, Mayor, just on that, can we get the report before members of the PCSP are invited to another type of meeting like this? Because I would like to make sure that we're completely, all the checks and balances have been done before another one of these sessions is run by our PCSP. I appreciate it'll take a bit of time to gather the report, but I would like it before another one of these meetings are offered to members of the PCSP.
Okay, so the officers will investigate and then we'll bring the report because they cannot guarantee that this cannot happen again before that, but they will investigate the matter and make sure as soon as they can, as I have been informed. Okay, the next person is Councillor Jackson.
On this
The same item.
on this item, I do sit on the PCSP, and as part of my role within the on the PCSP is querying some of the figures that are provided by the PSNI. We specifically asked for figures relating to stop and search searches within our council area, because we wanted the comparison around how many stop and searches were carried out in our council area compared to other council areas. Because for the very reasons that were outlined, there was concerns coming within our community that stop and search powers were being abused by officers within our council area. So as part of our role within the PCSP, we queried and scrutinised those figures, and as a result, we have seen those figures reduce. So the numbers of stop and searches have reduced because those are presented regularly to the PCSPs. I haven't taken the opportunity because on the back of the scrutiny around stop and searches, and if we feel that there's, if we receive concerns around abuse of any powers, we're going to question it, we're going to scrutinise it, and I would encourage anybody within this chamber that shares that concerns to join with us in the PCSP and ask the relevant questions and provide clarity. I know the PSNI did make that offer on the back of the suspicion of the stop and searches powers being abused within our council area. It was on the back of that they made the offer. They say if you want to come and view any of the body worn footage, you can. I fully accept and respect that there may be GDPR issues. I haven't taken the opportunity to avail of that, but I know I take on board and I trust what other people are saying when they're saying us that images are blurred out. Our concern was that whilst those powers existed, that they weren't being abused. And we'll continue to do that. And I'm happy to raise it within the PCSP again. If there's any further suspicions that the stop and search powers are continuing to be abused, but it's not something that is raised with me in recent times anyway. But if it is raised with me, I am more than happy to raise it within the PCSP, and I would encourage others to do it as well. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barr.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's very concerning that members of the public and the PCSP can randomly view these videos. There are, as Councillor Gallagher alluded to, some members of the public who are searched day and daily to the point of harassment. And I feel this practice is a breach of GDPR.
Thank you, Councillor Carrigan.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me in. Just to confirm a declaration of interest as a member of the PCSP, and that I have viewed the videos along with Alderman McMorris. And as far as I recall, it was the PSNI that were organising these events, and they were inviting in members of the PCSP to come and view them. And again, it was random. You were able to pick and select your videos, and it was more of a, in my view of it, it was more of a confirming that the officers were handling themselves appropriately. So just that comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussain.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not a member currently of PCSP. I have been in the past. And I'm aware of the process for selection of independent members. There was a term used by Councillor Gallagher, so-called independent members. Can I have clarification on that?
Councillor Gallagher, do you want to clarify?
Well, there's been previous independent members that all of a sudden got elected to political parties.
Okay, members. Okay, members, moving on.
Thank you, Mayor. I think if I was an independent member on a PCSP board, I would be insulted by that sort of remark. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, members. Okay, moving on to item 10G, special meeting of the Planning Committee held on Thursday, 19 September 2024, pages 139 to 140 for accuracy. Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, Councillor. Any matters arising?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, look, there was a major data centre application that was passed by the Planning Committee last week, and a lot of coverage of it. And I did see that there was a lot of attention paid to in terms of environmental factors.
Just in relation to this, I need to declare an interest on this application.
Okay.
I believe others may do as well.
Declaring
Mayor, I
an
also
interest?
declare an interest, thank you.
Declare the same interest as Councillor Jackson.
Okay, thank you. Any other member declaring an interest? Thank you, member.
Can I proceed? Thanks. Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, look, so there was it's a major data information centre, and it's going to be in Maydown. And there was a lot of attention given to flooding issues in terms of the environmental impact, but there's been questions raised, and there are questions raised about data centres in the south. It's been a big debate in the Dáil. There's many members who pay attention to what's happening in the Dáil, may be aware. So I would like to ask, and there is considerable interest in this, about if council can provide a report that looks at the data centres from the point of view of water consumption. And I know that there was some argument about the colder climate or in the north that wouldn't impact on the amount of water used. But I would like to see more evidence of that and kind of how this data centre would impact water consumption. There's also concern about the amount of energy that data centres use up. There's concern that 30% of the South's energy grid will go towards data centres, and that has an impact on climate agreements in terms of climate obligations around decarbonisation. So I think we have to look at that as well. What impact would this have on our goal in terms of a district, but also the north, in terms of heading towards decarbonisation and our climate aspirations? So I think that would be a useful thing for the council to do, and would allow a bit more discussion about the pros and cons of data centres. Obviously, there's a call in the south for them to be banned in terms of future for more data centres to be banned because of these concerns. And I think we have to look at these issues as well as a council.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin. Any other member? Councillor Mooney?
Thank you, Chair. Just on the back of Councillor Harkin's reviews there, just a note, I suppose, that I sat on the committee last week, but there was no representations or objections made in relation to the application about any of these matters. So just wanted to declare that to the entire membership now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mooney. Okay, members, the next item is confidential. Can I ask for a proposal to go to confidential? Thank you. Thank you, members.